Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming back to our number 3 Bastone class for distance learning. So today we're going to skip with the review. First class, basically we covered the montante and the Colpo di testa. Second class, we covered our terza and quarta guard. And in both those classes, we've discussed stances and how to move and how to lunge properly. So if you feel like you are rough on any of those subjects, feel free to head back and watch those videos again, or to reach out with me to me for questions. I'm always happy to answer any questions. But today we're going to jump in, and we're going to do 2 new strikes, and we're going to do 2 new guards. So this first strike is going to feel very, very familiar, and it's called the l'ombrello. And so the l'ombrello is just that, it's the umbrella. And so this is going to be a strike that's going to be revolving in a horizontal plane above our head, and it's going to be striking at the side. So either the side of the face, slightly lower at the side of the body, but it's going to be very horizontal. So let's skip with the warm-up today. We'll warm up as we move through the strikes. So let's get into our stance. So we have our good heels in alignment, a 50-50 weight distribution. We have our hand positions like so. And so to start with the l'ombrello, I want you to imagine you're lifting your hands up, and you're going to chamber them back a little bit. So we're not stretching out, we're not twisting back, but we're going to be in a nice chambered position. Now, rotating the baton over our heads in a nice horizontal manner. And then here is where we would lunge and strike the side of the face. So speeding that up a little bit and giving myself a little distance. Again, out, and then back up. So strike it out, chamber it back up. And back up. And back up. So as it's traveling over my head, you'll notice I'm keeping my hands up just enough to clear it over my head. If my hands are too low, I'm going to have to raise the tip, and that's not giving us that nice level plane that we want to see. If our hands are too high, I guess you're doing kind of a half-closed umbrella, and that's not quite ideal either. You want to be right on the plane with your target, neither below coming up nor up falling down, but coming directly from the side. So again, this will be striking the side of the person's head. So right in the face, right in the side of the torso, thereabouts. Now we can also do this from the other side. So instead of chambering our hands back here, we would bring them in a cross position. Again, extend out and pull them back. So this is one of the times where it's going to be a little awkward because I'm going to want to step, and that's okay. The manual has you actually step when you're going from side to side. So we're in a little bit limited space right now, but these strikes, I would go like this. So again, and backwards, like that, like that. So I could start doing my strike now. So this one is going to be hitting what we would term our inner side and outside lines. So if I'm imagining somebody standing across from me and they're opposite, this strike would be to their outside. So this would be landing over here. And this strike would be to their inside line. So as I'm pulling back and winding up, this would hit the outside, and this would hit the inside line. So if this feels a lot like a Zwerk, You know, it's going to be the same kind of mechanical motion of the body. Okay. So now if we have our horizontal strike up high, the next one we're going to do, so this is the Colpo di Fianco, so this is the flank strike. This is going to be a horizontal strike coming from the waist, aiming toward the flank of your opponent, so the side of the torso, or aiming for the legs of your opponent. And again, this is going to be a horizontal strike. And to do this, from our stance, we're going to chamber our baton. So we're going to bring it back toward our side. It's resting very lightly against my bicep. You know, I'm not cranked way back. I'm not sticking out. I'm kind of in a nice direct line to my target. And I'm going to extend. And as I do so, that's when I add the lunge. So here. And this can also be done from both sides. So I can chamber it on my left bicep, or I can chamber it on my right bicep. Same concept. Chamber it on the right, out, and out. Now, Sarah says to extend your arms powerfully with the strike. So when our baton is hitting our target, we do want to make sure that our arms are straight and we're not robbing ourselves of any length by having our elbows bent. So there's no this. You want your arms out, out. Okay, now this can also be done left foot forward. So similar to the walk that we just did with the lumbrello, we can do something similar with the Colpo di Fianco. So chambered on the left. Instead of lunging, I'm just doing a passing step. Here and backwards as well. Here. Here. So again, a little bit limited for space, but if you have a wide open area, that would be great practice to do. Just go back and forth, up and down. Do your montantes, do your Colpo di Testas, do your lumbrellos, and then do your Colpo di Fiancos. So, okay, those are our two strikes. Now, as the strikes are going to be hitting our flanks and our legs, we're going to need something that's going to defend those as well. So the two guards we're going to cover are kind of matched. So you have your Cerchio and you have your Seconda. So we're going to start with our hands. Wrists are uncrossed. We're going to raise it high on the left side of our body, so guarding our inside, and we're going to drop the tip. So it's going to look very similar to this. Now, this is going to protect our legs if we have it a little lower. It's going to protect our head and our torso if we have it a little bit higher. So he says that there's a little bit of movement, and you can kind of move it around as need be. What you shouldn't do is you should not let it drift up too far. So the tip should stay down and a little bit forward. So it's not, you don't have to strain yourself to trying to get it perfectly vertical. Having it out forwards a little bit, okay? Having it out this way, what's going to happen is your opponent's baton is going to sneak up right underneath. So keep it kind of down and forward is okay. So again, this is Cerchio. Cerchio. Now, the pair of that is going to be Seconda. So Seconda is going to be the very same thing, just on the right side of your body. So it's going to be wrists uncrossed, high, and high over the the right shoulder now. So as we turn and look at it, here is Cerchio. Here is Seconda. So again, we're going to be kind of guarding the same areas, just on our outside line now. So a little bit lower, that's protecting hits coming in toward our legs, rising up toward our lower torso. We have it a little bit higher, it's going to start protecting the rest of our torso and our head. So, Cerchio, Seconda, and then while I'm facing the camera, we have the Colpo di Fianco, and we have the Lombrello, like so. So, now that we have all of those building blocks, we can start to string them all together and start making combinations. So a lot of Sari's book is what he calls Molinelli. So these are just combinations of these basic building blocks. So these basic strikes, these basic guards, strung together and designed to move you in certain ways, to have you deal with certain situations. And so we're going to start to work through those together now. So our first one is going to be called 2 face blows in 1 action and 2 tempos. So this is going to combine that flank blow that we just did and the umbrella. So if we do this together, standing still, we're going to start in the position of the Colpo di Fianco. We are not going to step, so don't lunge quite yet. You're going to continue the motion and bring it up into an umbrella. Then when you're up in the umbrella, that is when you extend a strike. So again, start with the flank blow, continue up into an umbrella, and we're going in the same direction. So think like a corkscrew motion, if that helps. And then when you finally reach the apex of the umbrella, that is when you lunge and strike at the pal. So again, slow, flank blow, umbrella. And just recover to the starting position of the flank blow when you're done. So doing this face on. We're starting with the flank blow, Lombrello. Flank blow, Lombrello. Okay. And we can also do that from the opposite side. So instead of a, what is that, clockwise spiral, we'll do a counterclockwise spiral. So starting chambered with the right flank blow, swinging but not extending, so not doing the lunge, not actually touching the target, continuing around in the same direction, powerfully extending and hitting on the umbrella. Here, and again, out. Okay, so that again is 2 face blows in 1 action of 2 tempo. So we're doing 2 blows that are designed to hit the face. So that first Colpo di Fianco that we are pulling and not actually hitting. Then the Lombrello. 1 action, so it's all in 1 smooth continuous movement. It is in 2 tempo because we are doing 2 separate components. So 2 building blocks to create 1 action. Okay, so is that clear so far? Do we have any questions? And if you do have questions, just unmute yourself and hop in. Okay, so no one is saying anything. So I'm going to assume that you're following along. Okay. So in addition to doing these motions in 1 direction, so that is, here is my 1 opponent, that's the only person I'm facing. Sari also leads us through situations where we might have multiple opponents. So what if I was fighting 2 different people, 1 on either side of me? So for this next example, I'm going to assume that my Pel is 1 opponent, and my second opponent is going to be This is the pole of my clothesline. So if I wanted to fight these two people at 180 degrees, how would I do so? So to do that, we would be using the ones we just were introduced to. So the Lombrello and the Colpo di Fianco. So this is called defense of the front and back. So we start with it chambered. Yes. Let me just grab my notes real quick. It's been a while since I've done some of these. Okay. So if we start facing our first opponent, so pick one direction, make that opponent 1, pick the direction behind you, that'll be opponent 2. And make sure your heels are properly stacked. If they are separated, if they are not in line, if you have space between your legs, you will not be able to do this maneuver successfully. So heels in line, and we are going to start okay. So that same pattern we were just doing. So we start, oh shoot. Okay. So we're going to have a separate, we're going to have a first motion to get us going, and then we're going to start the pattern. So extend the baton. Baton is going to be on your left bicep. You're going to extend it out to strike. You're going to, again, miss it, and you're going to go up into the umbrello and strike. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with this one. Okay, my bad. We're going to start with the baton on the right bicep, and we're going to start by attacking behind us. So those motions we were doing before, doing the flank attack up into the umbrello, we're going to do that as we pivot on our heels and face the direction behind us. So we're going to Colpo di Fianco, Lombrello. Colpo di Fianco, Lombrello. Colpo di Fianco, Lombrello. So for this exercise, we are not actually attacking. This one is going to be defense only. So again, oh, there's someone, I see him, I'm aware of someone coming up behind me, I need to pivot and address him. Colpo di Fianco, Lombrello. Now there's the other person behind me, I need to do the same maneuver in reverse. So Colpo di Fianco, Lombrello. Now, it would be very easy to build on this and to, say, go from just pure defense. So ending in the umbrello, maybe doing another Lombrello with a lunge for an attack. This one is just going to be defense of the front and back. Okay, so I'm going to do that one more time facing the camera, just so you can kind of see how I am rotating around. So heels are in line. Okay. Any questions on that one? Nope? Okay. So for the last part of the class, we're going to go through some attack, parry, repoussé patterns. So we did this last week, but if you weren't here, or just for a recap, so the point of these is going to be you are going to launch an attack, So you're going to launch some sort of strike, and then you are going to immediately recover to a guard. So we're going to assume that our attack was, for some reason, unsuccessful. Either it was parried or we screwed up, we didn't hit them. So we're going to recover immediately to a guard, and then from the guard, we are going to immediately respond with a riposte. So we're going to attack, it's going to fail, we're going to go to a guard, we're going to launch another attack. And so these patterns are going to start to work in some of these strikes and the guards that we learned today. So, first pattern is going to be a left flank strike. Our guard is going to be Cerchio, and then we're going to riposte with a l'ombrello to the outside. So what that's going to look like is we're going to do a left flank blow, so colpo di fianco. It's not going to hit, so we're going to recover immediately to a guard. Our guard is Cerchio. And we are going to riposte with an umbrello to the outside line. So that's going to be there. So again, a little bit more slowly. Left colpo di fianco. Guard Cerchio. Riposte l'ombrello to the outside line, and then just recover to first guard. So facing the camera, I have my baton on my left bicep, so left, recover to Cerchio, left l'ombrello. So, okay. So let's do that at our own speed. Let's say 3 times. And I'm just going to kind of say the names to myself and to people if they want to listen. If it's helpful. If it isn't helpful, you can just ignore me. Left flank, Cerchio, outside l'ombrello. Flank, Cerchio, outside l'ombrello. Okay. And if anybody has any questions or wants me to go over something more slowly or in more detail, just hop on and let me know. I'll go back and I'll do things again. So moving on. So our second pattern is going to be a right flank strike, so colpo di fianco. Then we're going to do seconda, and then we're going to do an inside l'ombrello. So basically the pattern we just did, the first pattern, we're going to reverse it. So starting with the right flank this time. So strike with the right flank, recover guard to seconda, and now this time the l'ombrello is going to be to the inside line, and recover. So that again is right flank, seconda, inside l'ombrello. And facing the camera, we have right flank, seconda, inside l'ombrello. Okay, so let's do that a few more times. And as you're doing this, you should still be having good comportment. So your feet, your heels should still be stacked, have a nice upright posture. When we do our lunges, you want a solid foot and back. You don't want your knee too far forward. So as you're going through these, just kind of keep an eye on yourself. You know, every now and then pause and say, hey, does this feel right? Am I lunging too far out? Am I having trouble recovering? And so forth. So let's do that second pattern 3 times at our own pace. So right flank, seconda, inside l'ombrello. Okay. And the sun is out. Lovely. I'm going to check the time real quick. Oh, terrific. Right on time. Okay. So I have one more pattern that we're going to cover, and then we will be good for tonight. So this is going to be an inside lumbrello. Our guard is going to be quarta. So remember quarta from last week. And then we're going to finish up with a left-sided montante. So inside lumbrello is going to be attacking the inside of the tire, the inside line of my opponent. So inside line of the tire, recovering the quarta. That's the guard that is wrists uncrossed, hands down by hip, tip up. And then we are going to be finishing with a rising left-handed swing. So that's that montante from the left. So again, this pattern is going to be and then you can just recover to a comfortable guard at the end. So facing the camera. Quarta. Okay, so let's do that 3 times together. And as we do our inside line lumbrello, sure to keep your hands up nice and high. Extend them powerfully on the lunge. Recover immediately into quarta. Raise the hands up. Chamber the strike for your montante from the left. Okay, so that's all I had for today. I do have a question for people. Would you guys be interested if I posted the patterns, excuse me, that we covered in class, if I put them on the Facebook page? And then people can work through them also on their own.
Yes, please.
Yes, no? Yes, please? Okay. I think that might be a little bit easier than having to write them down from the video somehow. So I thought that might be helpful. Okay, well, if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to wrap it up for tonight.
Fast question.
Is that a question?
Fast
Oh,
question.
yeah, by all means.
We're chambered for lumbrella. Are we in oaks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, it's not called oaks. It's going to be very similar to oaks. So the wrists uncross up here, that's pretty much oaks. It's a very similar oaks position. And I've also seen Cerchio and Seconda described as a shrank, kind of a shrank position. So if those are shortcuts that help you, you know, remember those positions, by all means, you know, think of them that way.
I got a quick question.
Sure.
So when you're doing the umbrellas, do you need to be chambered on one side or the other, or does it not really matter?
So when you are going to the inside, you kind of want to start from, what would that be? That would be your right side. So right side ending on the inside. If you are going for the outside line, you'll want to begin on your left-hand side. So yes, it does kind of matter. So if, yep, and I could do that again if you'd like me facing the camera. So if I'm going for my opponent's outside line, so that would be, you know, over here, I'm going to start on my left because I'm hitting horizontally coming from here. If I'm going for my opponent's inside line, so that would be over here, I start on the right, my right, in order to come in horizontally from that direction.
Cool. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure. Okay, well, great class, everyone. It's been a pleasure as always. And I will get the patterns that we did today posted before too terribly long. And I'll hopefully see you guys next week. Bye.
Hi, Seth.